Hello viewers. So in this tutorial, basically we'll going to install MetalLB in Kubernetes cluster. So first thing is that we need to understand what is MetalLB. So MetalLB is a load balancer implementation for the bare metal Kubernetes cluster. So you can go through this documentation page so that you can get some idea about this, what is MetalLB. And before that, I have some document prepared, so you can see what are the different type of service in Kubernetes. Basically this is the overview of the different service. So the first one is the cluster IP, which is basically accessible within the cluster, and the second one is the node IP. Basically you can reach out from your from your cluster, reach to your service from outside of your cluster using the node IP and the certain port number. Okay, so the third one is that the load balancer, which we are going to implement through MetalLB today. Okay, so basically if you expose one service as a service type as load balancer, so that time in bare metal cluster the status always showing like pending. So we will show you in the demo. Okay, but if you implement the MetalLB as a load balancer in your bare metal cluster, then definitely this MetalLB will provide one IP address to your service. Okay, so this is the thing we will going to discuss. And basically in the cloud environment, the cloud provider basically provide the IP address when you deploy one service as the load balancer, but in bare metal, like in your lab environment, on-premise environment, basically this type of facility is not there, so we can use MetalLB as the load balancer. Okay, so all the details you can get from this page. And MetalLB has two components, that is one is controller, which basically allocate the IP address, okay, to the service, and the second component, that is the speaker. Once the IP is allocated to the service, then this guy manage the advertisement of IP address to the cluster. Okay, so the speaker daemon set run, basically it is run as a daemon set, and because this daemon set nature is like it should be deployed on all nodes of the cluster. Okay, so before let me jump to the direct to the demo. Okay, so this is my Kubernetes cluster which is deployed in on-premise, like in VirtualBox. I'll show you like get node, this is 2 node cluster, and deployed in kind cluster. So let me jump to the installation. We have this configuration and the installation steps mentioned here. Okay, so basically this step is not required since we are not using this one. You can check this command. Okay, kube control edit config map, this one, kube proxy, and basically we are not using this mode IPVS. Okay, so we no need to make it as true. Basically this value is always false. If you are using IPVS, then definitely we will use this one. Okay, then we can go ahead to install this one. So in my case, I already have this YAML file. We are going to install MetalLB using this YAML file. It will basically create one namespace, that is the MetalLB. You can check, yeah, one MetalLB system namespace is getting created, and as we discussed, like it will like the two components it will install, like one is controller and the another one is the speaker. Okay, so most probably we'll get those things. Okay, get all -n. You can see the speaker, because we are having 2 nodes, so that's why it is deploy in the two nodes, okay, as a daemon set and one controller. Its status should be in running status very soon. And yeah, that much. Then we can go ahead to configure this. Yeah, so directly we can jump to the configuration section in the document phase. So here we need two important things we need to configure. One is IP address pool, then we need to advertise that IP address. Okay, the first thing is that we need to create one IP address pool, so that when the service request as the load balancer service, that time the IP is assigned from this pool. Okay, so let me create one IP address pool. So for that, I think let me check the status. Yeah, now you can see all the controller and the speaker ports are up and running. Okay, now we can see, like, we can go ahead to create this IP address pool. Okay, then we can advertise that IP address pool. Okay, so I already created that YAML file. IP pool. Yeah, one important thing is that you can mention your IP pool name, and this is the address. Okay, I put the range of address like 130 to 150. Okay, so how can we choose this series of IP? Okay, so according to your get node, so I am using this type of IP. Okay, you can see or say get node your internal IP series. Okay, so it is deployed in the kind Kubernetes cluster, so that's why the IP address series is like that. Okay, 172.18 like that. Okay, so we should take that series of IP. Okay, 172.18.0. I take some free IP like 132 150, that is 20 number of IP in that pool. Okay, so let me go ahead to apply that one also. Once you create the IP pool, then you can advertise that IP pool. Okay, using this L2 advertise. Okay, because internally using ARP protocol they are advertising that IP, so we'll implement that one using another file. That is, whatever you put the pool name, same pool name you can put it here in the L2 advertisement section CRD. Okay, there is nothing else here, just you need to put the whatever IP pool name you assigned there, that name only you can put it here. Okay, the most important thing is that whatever your worker node IP series are there, worker node or master node IP series are there, same IP series you need to take, like some free IP series. Okay, IP address. Okay, so let me apply this to file. Apply -f IP pool, also L2 advertisement. Okay, so let me apply. Now it's getting created. We can check what are the pods are getting created in this namespace. Yeah, all pod status is showing running. Let me go ahead to this is the configuration basically for the MetalLB. Let me go ahead to deploy one sample application. Okay, that is Nginx application. Okay, that is like cluster IP, normal application. Then we can expose that service as a load balancer. I think this step is not required. Once again, I already have this namespace. We can go ahead to create one sample application. We can wait for this application to be ready. Now it's a container creating. Hopefully the pods should be getting ready. Yeah, now we can see this pod is ready, and we expose that service as normal service, that is the cluster IP. Okay, so now we can see the port 80 only opened. Okay, now we can see this external IP is none. Okay, because this is type of cluster IP, this service is type cluster IP. Okay, so now we can go ahead to expose that service first, then node IP, and access that application. Then we can see the difference, like if we expose again as load balancer type. Okay, how this MetalLB provision one IP address when it is exposed as load balancer. First we can check this node IP. We can cover this service also, node IP. Let me patch this service. You can patch this service as, because this is type is cluster IP. Let me check with node port, so that one node port is assigned here. Okay, now it's patched. Now we can check the service, get service. Now we can see the difference. Earlier it was node cluster IP. Okay, now the node IP is assigned. So in this case we can access our application using any of the node, that is worker node or master node. Okay, you can pick k get node -o void. Okay, you can pick any of the node IP, then you can crawl that one and put your node IP. Okay, now you can see the Nginx application is able to access. We are able to access the Nginx application using node port. Okay, then we can switch to service type. Now you can see the service type, that is node port. Okay, then we can check, convert it to like this type, load balancer type. Okay, so for that we can patch that service again. You can see the external field is still none. Okay, because node IP, the only node port number is required. Okay, let me patch to load balancer type. Now you can see one IP address is assigned here. Okay, whatever IP address we configured, like in the our IP pool, you can compare here. Our first IP pool address is .130. Okay, so that's why from that range it picked the first one. Okay, so basically these are assigned by your this component. This is called the controller. Okay, so now your service is getting your external IP through the load balancer, that is the MetalLB load balancer. If you create another second service of type load balancer, again it will assign like 131. Okay, so let me check like how to access this service through load balancer. Okay, so the load balancer, you can pick the load balancer IP. Instead of going to that each node's IP, either worker node or that is master node, in case of node port, we can directly go to this load balancer IP, then put the port number, that is the 80. Okay, now we can see we are able to access the same application using external IP, that is 130. Okay, so in this video we covered like how we deploy this MetalLB as a load balancer, and how this load balancer will provision one external IP to the service when it is declared as service type load balancer. Okay, so this is same feature like what we get in the the cloud environment. Okay, in the next video I think we'll cover how we integrate this load balancer like MetalLB with the Nginx ingress controller. Okay, so that's it for the today. We'll see you in the next video.